Let's take you to Parliament now. Ranking member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapor, is demanding the immediate dissolution of government's economic management team over what he says is its failure to take steps to cushion consumers in the wake of the rising fuel prices. Mr. Jinapor insists rising global prices cannot be a justification for the state of affairs, since government can utilize the stabilization fund to immunize the impact on Ghanaians.
The economic management team under Dr. Bawumia has failed woefully. Indeed, they have run out of ideas. The vice president has gone into comatose. He is nowhere to be found. This is the time he has to demonstrate leadership. This is the time government must show that it cares for the people. All we hear government doing is whining and whining and whining. We believe that something must be done. That is why the minority and the Mines and Energy Committee in particular is calling on the Akufo-Addo administration to sit up and take pragmatic steps towards ensuring that they cushion the ordinary Ghanaian failure. We call on President Akufo-Addo to dissolve the economic management team because they have not lived up to expectation. Indeed, if I were the vice president, what I will be doing is to tender in my resignation as head of the economic management team.
Well, so that's John Jinapor indicating the position of minority on this matter. Government and its appointees and some of the functionaries within the NPP are not really happy about the position of the minority. Joining us now is Daniel Ochema-Boakye. He is the former government spokesperson on finance, also monitoring a lot of developments. As we understand, you saw a tweet by the information minister there indicating that the government is also having separate meetings on what to do to cushion Ghanaians. So, Daniel Ochema-Boakye, I'm grateful that you're joining us at this moment. Let's first of all deal with the concerns coming through from Parliament. It appears that we've heard from the Vice President at the start of this government, where he indicated that you have a solid economic management team. Where are the people now, and why are they not cushioning us in these troubling times?
Well, let me say good afternoon to you, and thank you for the opportunity. I think my friend, Honorable Jinapor, is just rushing and talking, knowing that there is a meeting that is already going on as to how government is going to intervene. This government has intervened a lot. You know, they're just really rushing to try to say that the government is doing nothing so that they can get the sympathy of Ghanaians. And don't forget, our opposition is looking for opportunity to come to power. And that is my greatest fear, because we've never done well every time they have the opportunity. And I think we are becoming insensitive as well. Insensitive in the sense that how do you fight against the government's ability to raise money? Or how do you fight against 2022 budget and still expect government to immediately respond to this crisis? The entire world is suffering from increasing prices. Of course, I run transport right now, but to be honest with you, people are suffering. But I believe the government is thinking about what they can do. Does the government even have the money? So you can't go at one end and begin to, deprive the government of the support it needs to raise money, and come on the other end.
But I thought you had the plan when you took over the reins of power. You indicated to the people of Ghana that you were in to solve our economic challenges. You were elected to fix the problem. That's what the president told us.
That debate has always been, that debate has always been done. We've always won it. We won a second term because the government performed, or the government was performing until before COVID, until before this crisis. The government was doing fantastic. We dealt with the energy crisis. You and I have been enjoying light for at least 5 years. We dealt with the financial crisis that cost Ghana more than 20 billion Ghana cedis. We took Ghana out of IMF. Under the mess that we inherited from NDC, the GDP grew from 3.4% to about 7% on average. So it hasn't been a hopeless.
And all these things all these things you've done have come to naught. Here we are today. There's a big question facing government whether or not to return to the IMF. Well, so it appears that you've not really done anything, have you?
I totally disagree to say that it's come to naught. To be honest with you, if we were in the NDC, this Ghana country for Ghana may not be there. So
exactly what do you mean by that statement?
I am saying that things would have been worse. Maybe COVID would have killed all of us because we know them. We know them. So, yes, it was because we're doing well. That is why the impact that we have felt hasn't been so bad. If it was under NDC, trust me. So NDC cannot go on one side of the river, upstream, mess up the water, come down and ask who messed up the water.
But I'm sorry, is this all about the NDC? This is about the figures that we're talking about today. You're in need of over 100 billion. You've not been able to get any closer in terms of your revenue targets. We're in a very dire straits now in terms of our economic condition. These are the facts that face you today. Whether you like it or not, we as a country are expecting that government will fix the problem.
We are not running away from the facts. In fact, we've always done well.
But you had the minority ask the question, for instance, where's the vice president? Why are we not seeing him address us on all of these issues?
And that is why I'm saying that apart from the minority, my own friend, Honorable Janapo, being insensitive to what Ghanaians are going through, and I would say mocking at Ghanaians at this time, the president and the team are thinking, they are meeting, and I'm sure you are aware about that. So they shouldn't be rushing. They are rushing to nothing. They just want to lead the government and just trying to throw something out there. So that is what they do with politics. And this is very, very sensitive time. You can't do that. You can't play on people's emotion. It's difficult. I'm a businessman running businesses right now. The dollar is almost messed up before what is going on. Prices of goods and services are increasing by the day. These are challenging times. See what America is doing. The US is increasing what they call it, borrowing rates so that they could control the inflation. So let's see what the government is doing.
Are you not setting double standards? Are you not setting double standards? We've seen a plethora of tweets by the president and also the vice president now, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, talk about how the erstwhile administration was not able to manage the depreciation of the cedi. Today, we find ourselves in the same space. So, and even worse, as some would argue. So,
let me say this.
So are you not setting double standards then?
No, we are not. No, we are not, honestly speaking. We are not setting double standards. People will say, we said the money is here in Ghana, where is the money?
But you said that. These are, it's not as though we're making them up. You said you made these comments as a political party.
My friend, I think you want us to have a conversation.
Yes,
so when you are
precisely.
speaking, I keep quiet. So please give me a chance to also explain. So when the vice president some time ago said that there's money in Ghana, if you ask me, it's totally true. There's money in Ghana. If you change how you handle your agricultural supply chain, you will make a lot of money, right? If you deal with corruption, you will make a lot of money. The monies are here. We just have to start doing much more to control and make sure that we keep the money. Okay, so the argument about, if you ask me, the argument about using price of fuel and even the dollar exchange rate, especially because we are so much dependent on foreign goods and services, I think that should be out of our politics. I mean, whether it's MPP that is using it or that has used it in the past or NDC that want to play the same take it, whatever it is, I think that politics of fuel prices and foreign exchange should be out, to be honest with you. Because given the nature of our economy, until we change things, until one factory, one district, or one factory begins to take shape and we are producing a lot of things that we do use and speak with and whatever it is here, and we require dollars to import these things, we're still going to suffer this problem.
Okay.
So yes. Go ahead.
Right. You are also quite close to the powers that be in the NPP. Here we are today. There's a cabinet meeting. In fact, we understand that those discussions started way last night or yesterday. The consultations are ongoing. What's really your position on the division within your party? Some saying, well, let's go back to the IMF. We've had, for instance, the former ranking on the finance committee, Marcus Ibieba, talk about the fact that there's a need for us to turn to the IMF at this point. What's your personal take also on these different opinions that we're seeing within the NPP?
And that was my chairman of the finance committee,
right,
Dr. Asibe, and let me say good afternoon to him. I totally disagree with his position, even though I respect his opinion a lot. I think it's not time to do that at all, given the conditionalities that come with IMF. Why can't we try something interim first? I am not against going to IMF ultimately, but we need to try a few other things first. So I totally disagree with him on that position. We are not divided. He only expressed his personal opinion. And I think that should be respected from where he sits. But I disagree. I don't think it's time for us to go there. There are a lot of opportunities that we need to exploit first and begin to try to understand how we will be able to take care of ourselves by paying more to do more. I used to prepare taxes in the US when I was there. I lived there for about 40 years. In the US, if you add federal tax, state tax, local taxes, people pay close to about 40%. Until you redo your tax returns, you don't get any refund. So if we really want to develop, yes, people are calling for employment for the youth. I support that. We are calling for development. That is rightly so. We are calling for a lot of things. But at some point in time, we need to support to pay for these things.
Yeah, and you're supporting by paying taxes. That's your policy advice. But this goes contrary to the promise that you made. You said we were moving from a taxation-dependent economy to a production-centered economy. That's what you told the people of Ghana, right?
And that's exactly what we are doing. We never said we will never impose taxes. When we came to power, there were about some 26 or so taxes that NDC had, executed. And we changed or amended or even deleted about 17 of those taxes. All right? We never said we never impose taxes. All right? So some of those taxes we had to change or we had to even demolish. And that's why we used to call them nuisance taxes. So we did that. And that was necessary for us to be able to ensure that things are doing well. And we said that let's do a few other things to also make sure Ghanaian economy is doing well. Under NDC, businesses were borrowing at 35%. Even the government itself under NDC borrowed from a bank, UBA bank, using the Ghana Road Fund as a, as a collateral to borrow at the rate of 32%. Today, even though the rates are going up, it's about 20, 21, depending on what your credit risk is. So we have done something. Unfortunately, COVID hit. Unfortunately, we are going through
if you're attributing
Ukraine war.
And I'm sorry if you are sorry for catching through, but if you're attributing these things to COVID-19, we've heard recently from Pierre Laporte, who's the country director for the World Bank, indicating that the signs, quote, the signs were there ahead of the economic crunch that we're witnessing during the pandemic. So it appears that it's not all about COVID-19, if you, as we've heard from government and some of you within the NPP.
I like the way you put it. I like the way you put it. It's not all about COVID-19, but COVID-19 is part of it. The signs were there because we were getting out of NDC's mess. And we're just on a trajectory to continue to do well and sustain. What you do is that you come in, determine the extent of the problem, you begin to solve it. And we had begun solving it and the numbers were turning around. So, and NDC's mess or 8 years of NDC's mess, you cannot just take one time to change it. That was totally impossible. So you had to plan and spend prudently and begin to deal with corruption, deal with whatever, deal with the mess, take or pay issues, light off, youth unemployment, the various mess, energy crisis, financial instability, begin to get it right.
And yet the figures today tell us that we're doing worse than before. So
the good thing is that you have economic management team or even the Minister of Finance or the government that has its head above its shoulders. We know what to do and we have the men. So that is a promise. I mean, that is a good thing that we have. It isn't that we don't know what the challenges are. We know the causes of this issue, mostly external. And we will just take time, think about it, and begin to deal with it one after the other. Trust me, whatever is going on regardless, and this is caused by mostly external factors, whatever is going on right now in Ghana, I think the best government, given that we only have two, MPP and NDC, that is capable of dealing with this current crisis and even going forward, is MPP.
So you're saying that, so Daniel Ochemba-Boaji, it is your argument that in spite of this abysmal economic performance that we've witnessed, and I'm not saying that for my personal opinion, from the figures that we have, we're recording the worst rate of development ever, and these are the figures that we have. Based on this verdict, you are still asking the people of Ghana to go ahead and vote for the NPP again?
It's like the most fearful thing that I sit and live with every day is to have NDC come back to power anytime soon. Yeah, Ghana is not at a point where we can experiment again. We in MPP have to do whatever it takes legally, deliver on our promise, show good progress, unite the party more, and cross over the 80. NDC will mess up this country if they get a second opportunity. I don't have any trust, single trust, in what their ability to fix the challenges. So regardless of the challenge, by the way, I like the way you also put it, except to say that you decided probably not to tell us the full story, even though you had a sentence to do that. Yes, there are problems, but why? If you know how, you always have a job. But if you know why, you'll be a leader. Why are the numbers not looking good? That is the part that we have to tell Ghanaians. Otherwise, we'll be lying. We'll be telling the story halfway. And that's not true. There are two sides to the coin. Yes, the numbers may not be good, but why? There are reasons. And we are willing to deal with it heads on, no problem. Continue, go back, take a second look, and begin to walk the way. And by the way, we don't always, every time there's a problem, for me and for many of my team that I work with, it's opportunity for improvement.
Okay.
We can just go back and do better.
Right.
So I believe in the economic management team. I believe the NDC should be more responsible and supportive and sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians.
Right.
I believe they will come up with a solution that, given time,
we'll probe that. That's a need for us to probe that as well. In fact, you're doing all of this for the people of Ghana. We've been asking them on social media, trying to put up a poll on what Ghanaians actually think about this. As government holds retreat on dealing with the economic difficulties, what options would you go for? An IMF bailout or the e-levy? Just take a look at that. Significant. 68.3% say we need to go back to austerity measures. Just 30.7% are telling us that 31.7% are actually telling us that we ought to rely on the e-levy. So it appears that if the president has to be guided by this Joy news polls that we're putting up on social media, it is clear what the president would have to tilt to, a return to the IMF. Why is it so hard for the president to opt for that, really? I mean, judging from this poll, the Ghanaians are saying go back to the IMF.
I respect the opinions of those who have expressed their views via the social media over the question that asked. I just don't know the composition. But to be honest with you, if I was in the opposition, I'll be assembling a lot of people to go and vote. But NDC want to have equalization. So they were assembled soldiers on the social media to vote. That said, I am not against IMF. I'm just saying that it is not time. Time to go to IMF is not now. Probably the time is some other time o'clock, not now.
Okay, then.
So I respect the opinion. I don't know how scientific this might be, but as we see
now you're doubting the figures.
Yeah, obviously, I have no reason to doubt.
These are figures. Facts don't lie, right? The figures don't lie, right?
No, I'm also expressing my opinion. If I were
and what's significant about this is that this was posted less than 2 hours ago. So look at the significant trend of those who are backing the IMF return. That's significant, isn't it?
Leadership is hard. Sometimes you know where you're taking the people.
Okay.
But there could be many Thomases.
Right.
You have to lead them on.
Right. Daniel Ochema-Boaji, I'm afraid we don't have all of the time. We'll sure have this conversation once more, but thank you for joining us here.
You're very welcome.
On The Pulse. We are still...